this new sucking insect group, these scale insects, that put a cover over their body so that then they're very, very difficult to manage. And then the other issue is it's hard to know who they are and when they're going to be vulnerable. And just this last year, we have a new species, a tropical scale that's got 114 different hosts and hasn't been seen on Cranberry for 50 years. And so the question is, are they on hosts all around the bog? What's the life cycle? And so the good news on that is I'm hopefully teaming up with a colleague on campus who's a scale expert, and he's going to help us with identifications and things along those lines. So that's cool. Marty, do you have comments on scale?
Oh, absolutely.
Marty has comments on scale.
The new one, Latania scale, is very exciting that it showed up on our blog out here, a state blog.
We probably brought it from
some other grower. But needless to say, Putnam scale is what we're finding everywhere, and Ann kept saying, it'll go away, it's just a little outbreak, but it keeps getting worse. So that this year we had 144 samples come in. I worked with 25 growers. We worked really hard to do the timing to manage this insect. You can use a cultural practice lay water, which is really exciting, but it still seems to get worse. So we were just talking about this, why is this? And we think, some summer conditions, we spray them in June, but we had more than a dozen guys who had terrible, terrible populations in August. So you sprayed them, but because we had drought conditions in June and July, I think it was just superior conditions for the scale to do well. So it continues to be a huge challenge and lots of samples coming in.
You do weevil too.
We have 33 insects, if not more, so you appreciate that insects are just really challenging for cranberry growers. So we have cranberry weevil, which 20 years ago gave us a great challenge with resistance. So it's completely resistant to organophosphate, so you can spray it with diazinon or lorsban, and it walks through it. It doesn't bother it at all. We got, miraculously, Avant, a new chemistry, back in 2004, and it seemed to be working for us for the spring generation. We were trying to find a dance partner to go with it because you want to rotate your pesticides. The rotational choice was a neonicotinoid, so we're trying not to put on neonicotinoids because they carry so much baggage, and indeed they are bad for bees. Avant showing resistance now, and questions of resistance, but what we had is a very early May where weevil came out, so this little teeny insect comes out of the woods, gets onto the cranberries and starts feeding, so we sprayed Avant. Avant has to be eaten, so it has to be warm enough conditions, so we had the warm to get them come out, but then we had 2 or 3 weeks of very cold weather, so the Avant was not working on the bog. And the growers go, it's resistance, it's resistance. How many times do you spray and not get control? So we had some guys spray neonics, and you go, okay, we know it goes into the pollen and nectar, so you know that that's a bad situation. Or you wait, and we did have some success at the end of May when the weather finally got up into the 70s, and the Avant did work, and you go, okay, well that's good. So this is another thing that we're going to have to revisit next year and find out how we can solve this problem. And they always say, well, what other chemistries do you have coming down the pike? And you go, this is like Colorado potato beetle, or it's very difficult.
It's a relative of cotton boll weevil.
So you understand the resistance issue.
And now Kirby might ask, and some of you might ask, why aren't we looking to alternatives to sprays? Why are we only talking about sprays? We've tried everything.
20 years of pheromone
looking
studies.
Always, lots of big projects looking for alternatives. The last topic, because I know we're over our 3 minutes, is that we look at pollinators in cranberry. Our number one pollinator is bumblebees, large, beautiful, hairy bumblebees that are able to shake the flower and get the pollen out. And what we found over 30 years of study is that we started off back in 1950 with 9 to 13 species, and now we're down to one hugely dominant species. And I think what's going on is that this very, very successful species is essentially putting any competitors out of business. So, because it just blankets the landscape with queens and workers. And so we're down to very, very low diversity in our pollinator community of bumblebees. And so that's what I was talking to Linda about, is we need land. We need land for these bees, and how do we team up? How do farmers and conservation commissions team up to get land together? It's not about gardens, it's not about pesticides, it's not about pathogens, it's about being in an urban state. And so if we're going to conserve any of our wildlife here in Massachusetts, we need more natural areas. So that's our 3 minutes. Any questions?
Any questions?